Hello everyone. This is Six Path Weeb, and welcome back to the channel, where imagination meets the worlds we love. Today, we're diving deeper into a crossover that flips the script in a big way. Imagine a universe where destinies shift, mentors change, and power evolves along an entirely different path. Our fanfic journey continues with What if Goku trained Naruko instead of Kakashi? Part 2. Before we begin, a quick note, this content is created purely for entertainment and discussion. I do not own any anime footage used, all rights and credits belong to their respective creators and copyright holders. Now, without further delay, let's get into the story. In the days that passed, Goku carefully watched Naruko's progress, curious to see if she could one day match Minato's pace. What he discovered surprised him. Naruko learned quickly, faster than he expected. Where it once took Minato time to grow familiar with a path or a skill, Naruko seemed to understand in fewer days. She wasn't just improving, she was blooming, like a bright flower reaching eagerly toward the sun. By the end of the first month, Naruko moved along her training route with ease. Seeing this, Goku gently increased the challenge. He extended her path and added a new task, zigzagging around trees with quick, careful steps. Even then, Naruko adapted faster than he imagined. So Goku began preparing something new for her. Out in the quiet forest, Naruko walked slowly beside a row of trees, her hand brushing against the bark. She murmured thoughtfully. No. Not ready yet. She looked around with focused eyes. Under Goku's guidance, Naruko had learned many useful skills, not just for training, but for living wisely. One day, Goku had asked her to choose the right trees for firewood. At first, it was difficult. But with practice, she learned how to tell a tree's age and strength just by observing it. Now, she could do it with confidence. Her task for today was clear: find a good tree, cut it carefully, bring the wood back, chop it into pieces, and stack it neatly, all before midday. If she finished in time, Goku had promised to take her fishing. That thought alone made her smile. Suddenly, Naruko heard footsteps nearby. In an instant, she pressed herself quietly behind a tree, holding her breath. A ninja passed overhead. Naruko waited. Then let out a soft sigh. Another lesson from Goku: how to hide her presence. She had practiced this often, learning to move silently and remain unseen. Though she didn't fully understand why she needed to stay hidden, she trusted Goku. And she was getting better every day. There. All done, Naruko said proudly, brushing her hands together. Before her stood a neat stack of firewood, ready for the cold days ahead. She peeked inside the small hut and checked the clock. Just in time, she said with a grin. Quickly, she grabbed a broom and tidied the area, wanting everything to look just right. When Goku returned, he found Naruko sweeping. Finished already? He asked. Naruko looked up brightly. Yes. Go see. Goku examined the woodpile and nodded. Well done, he said. Let's go. Yada. Naruko cheered happily. At the riverside, the water shimmered under the sunlight. The key is not to scare the fish, Goku explained gently, casting his line with a soft splash. Naruko nodded and tried. Splash. Her line landed loudly. She lowered her head a little. It's okay, Goku said kindly. You'll learn. He then showed her how to make a simple spear from wood, explaining each step patiently. Naruko listened carefully. She had learned so much already: how to gather food, how to prepare it, and how to respect nature. At first, some lessons had made her uneasy, but Goku had explained everything with care and wisdom. Now, she understood that learning these skills helped her grow stronger and more independent. Later, they stood quietly in the shallow water. Be still, Goku said. And stay calm. Naruko tried her best. The water was cold. Very cold. But she stayed silent. A fish swam close. Splash. It darted away. Naruko sighed. Timing, Goku reminded her gently. It comes with practice. Naruko nodded. She would try again. That evening, they sat beside a warm fire under the starry sky. Naruko gazed upward, her eyes sparkling. It's so beautiful out here, she said softly. The sky feels endless. Goku smiled. Yes. It's peaceful. Naruko hugged her knees, watching the stars. I like it here, she said. Goku nodded quietly. Dash. The next morning, Naruko stepped into the river again, eager to try catching breakfast. Careful, Goku called. The rocks can be sharp. Naruko paused. Can I even swim? She wondered aloud. Goku chuckled softly. Let's learn that first. Naruko nodded. But as she turned. Slip. She stumbled into the water. Ow, she said, holding her foot. Goku quickly helped her out and checked the small cut. It's okay, he said reassuringly. We'll take care of it. Naruko watched as he carefully cleaned and treated the wound. It might sting a little, he warned. It already does, she said, then laughed a little despite herself. Goku smiled. You're brave, he said. Dash. Days turned into weeks, and winter arrived, covering the land in soft white snow. Naruko continued her training, now wearing special weighted clothing that made her stronger with every step. At first, it was difficult. But Naruko didn't give up. She ran through snowy paths, practiced her lessons, and even made time to rest and watch the clouds drift by. Goku often reminded her. Move well, study well, play well, eat well, and rest well. Naruko followed those words closely. Dash. One day, Goku led her to the river again. Naruko gasped. The water had turned into a wide sheet of shining ice. Whoa, she said, stepping onto it. Slip. She fell gently onto her back. Goku helped her up with a small laugh. That's why we're here, he said. You'll learn how to move on different surfaces. Naruko blinked. Like this? Goku nodded. Exactly. Dash. Soon, Naruko stood at the edge of a simple training course on the ice. Ready? Goku asked. She took a deep breath. Ready. Go. Naruko dashed forward. And slipped again. But this time, she laughed. She stood up, determined. I'll get it this time, she said. Goku watched her with a proud smile. She was learning. Not just how to move. But how to keep going, no matter what. Dash. And on that quiet, snowy day, Naruko continued her journey, one step, one slip, and one smile at a time. Naruko grumbled softly as she sat by the warm fire, her hands stretched toward the gentle glow. The frozen river shimmered in the distance, covered in soft snow that made everything look like a dream. It felt as if she had stepped into a magical land far away from home. Beside her, Goku quietly watched the fire. I'm going to push you, Naruko, he said after a moment, his voice calm but firm. You have talents waiting to grow. You just need to learn how to use them. Naruko tilted her head, curious. Use chakra, he added simply, still looking into the flames. Naruko blinked. She scratched her head and glanced back at the icy river. Is that a hint? She wondered to herself. Dash. The next morning, Naruko felt refreshed and ready. The cold air nipped at her cheeks, but she stood tall, determined. Goku stood nearby, watching her closely. Ready? He asked. Naruko closed her eyes. Use chakra. What does that mean? She thought. She shifted her foot slightly. Maybe. On the ice? Set, Goku said. Naruko formed a small hand sign and focused. That's it, Goku murmured with a small smile. Go. Naruko stepped forward, and slid. Not enough grip. She realized. Quickly, she adjusted, sending just the right amount of chakra to her feet. This time, she stayed steady. A grin spread across her face. She ran forward, gaining confidence, moving faster and smoother with each step. She leapt across a gap, only to find swinging poles ahead. Oh. Bonk. She blinked up at the sky, seeing stars twinkle above her, then landed gently in the soft snow with a surprised laugh. Goku sighed, though there was a hint of amusement in his eyes. This is going to be a long winter, he said. Dash. And it was a busy winter. Day by day, Naruko improved. She learned how to stick to the ice with perfect balance. She practiced gliding, jumping, and spinning through gentle obstacle courses Goku set up. Sometimes she slipped, sometimes she tumbled, but she always got back up, smiling and trying again. Soon, she could slide between icy pillars, hop over small puddles, and even roll smoothly beneath low beams. What once felt impossible became exciting. By the time the holidays approached, Naruko had mastered the course. At the very end, she reached the finish, and laughed as she stepped into a shallow patch of icy water. "Your reward," Goku called with a grin. Naruko splashed lightly, shaking her head with a smile. "You really enjoy this, don't you?" she said playfully. Still, she couldn't complain. She felt stronger, faster, and more confident than ever before. One sunny afternoon, Naruko sat atop the great stone monument, looking out over the village. People bustled about happily, preparing for the upcoming celebration. She rested her chin in her hand. "I wonder what I should get for Goku," she said thoughtfully. "He lives so simply." After a moment, her eyes lit up. "I know." That evening, Naruko dashed through the snowy forest, carrying a carefully wrapped package on her back. Thanks to her training, she moved swiftly, using small bursts of chakra to glide across the snow with ease. She arrived at Goku's home and called out, "Oji-san." No answer. She peeked inside, then around back. He must be out. So she waited. And waited. Eventually, she curled up and drifted into a peaceful nap. When Goku returned, he found her asleep and smiled kindly. "Hey, up you get," he said gently. Naruko stretched and yawned before grabbing her package. "Here," she said, a little shy. "For me?" Goku asked. She nodded. "I thought you might like something for the holiday." "Thank you," he said warmly, placing it beside a small tree. Then he set two packages in front of her. Naruko blinked in surprise. "For me?" Goku nodded. Naruko smiled brightly but shook her head. "I'll wait until the special day. It makes it more fun." Goku chuckled. "Fair enough." The days passed quickly, filled with laughter and small adventures. Naruko even returned to one of her favorite hobbies, harmless pranks that made people laugh and kept her quick on her feet. Finally, the special morning arrived. Naruko woke up, sunlight streaming through her window. Usually, this day felt a little lonely, but not this time. This time, she had something to look forward to. With excitement, she opened her gifts. Inside, she found a beautifully crafted outfit, light, comfortable, and perfect for training. There was also a note. She read it carefully as she tried it on. It fit perfectly. Naruko turned toward the mirror and smiled. "I love it," she said softly. There was one more surprise, a special seal that could adjust the weight of her outfit for training. She tested it and giggled as she felt the difference. "This is amazing." She stood tall, feeling proud and grateful. Looking at the small symbol stitched on her back, she placed a hand over it. "Thank you, Goku," she said with a bright smile. Outside, the day was peaceful and full of promise. And Naruko, full of determination and joy, was ready for whatever adventure came next. Naruko listened carefully as the instructor spoke, her bright eyes focused and full of curiosity. "As you grow, you'll need new skills, both as a shinobi and as a martial artist," the instructor said gently. "This Kadachi will be your weapon for the time being. There are scrolls prepared with training exercises you can follow whenever you have free time. I also recommend using the sash on your vest for the Bukuzukuri style. It's the safest and most balanced way to carry your blade. And remember, always keep the blade facing up." Naruko nodded, taking in every word. She wrapped her fingers around the black sheath and its matching hilt. It felt steady in her hands, like it already belonged to her. With a soft, careful motion, she unsheathed the blade. A quiet click echoed in the room. Naruko gasped softly. The steel shimmered like flowing water, its surface reflecting the light in gentle ripples. It reminded her of a calm river under the morning sun. The hilt was simple but elegant, with small golden studs that caught the light just enough to make it feel special without being overwhelming. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Holding it with care, she studied the blade for a moment longer before sliding it back into its sheath. The soft sound as it settled into place made her smile. Naruko adjusted the sash on her vest, following the instructor's advice, and secured the Kadachi properly. It rested comfortably at her side, as if it had always been meant to be there. She turned toward a nearby mirror. For a moment, she simply looked at herself. Her posture was straighter now. Her eyes held a quiet determination. She didn't look like someone who had just received a weapon, she looked like someone who had been given a responsibility. Naruko gave a small, confident nod. "This is the best winter festival ever," she said happily. Outside, soft laughter and distant music drifted through the village. Lanterns glowed warmly, and the air carried the scent of sweet treats and celebration. It was a time of joy, but for Naruko, it was also the beginning of something new. Later that evening, she sat cross-legged with the training scrolls spread out before her. Each one held lessons, balance exercises, focus techniques, and gentle forms to help her move with grace and control. She traced the drawings with her finger, imagining herself practicing each step. "I'll learn all of this," she said softly. "One step at a time." The Kodachi rested beside her, quiet and patient. Naruko smiled. She knew she wasn't the strongest yet. She still had much to learn. But that didn't worry her. What mattered was that she was trying, growing, and believing in herself. And with every new day, she would become a little better than she was before. Iruka clapped his hands gently to gather attention. "All right, students. Step forward when I call your name." The young trainees quieted down, though a soft buzz of excitement still lingered in the air. At the back of the group, Naruko Uzumaki bounced lightly on her feet, her bright eyes shining. Why? Because today was different. Usually, their physical lessons were just running laps or simple drills. But today, they were going to practice real taijutsu, learning how to move, react, and work together. Naruko couldn't wait. She wasn't the most skilled yet, she knew that. But she had been training hard. She could feel it in her arms, in her legs, in the way her body moved more easily than before. She was getting stronger. And today, she wanted to prove it. Now, Iruka continued, smiling kindly, "We're trying a new teaching method. You'll be grouped by skill level so everyone can improve at their own pace." The students nodded. Naruko listened closely. If there was one thing she believed in, it was getting better, little by little, step by step. As the names were called, she watched carefully. Each student took a turn practicing with Iruka, and Naruko paid close attention, not just to her classmates, but to her teacher as well. How he moved. How he reacted. How he stayed balanced. She wasn't trying to outdo him. Not yet. But maybe, just maybe, she could surprise him. Finally, her turn came. Iruka smiled. "Since we're short on time, Naruko, you'll be working with Ino." Naruko blinked, then smiled as Ino stepped beside her. "Ready?" Naruko whispered. Ino smirked. "Always." "Begin." Both girls moved at once. Naruko dashed to the side, watching carefully as Ino stepped forward. Instead of rushing blindly, Naruko slowed just enough to observe Iruka's reaction. Then, she moved. Together, she and Ino began to find a rhythm. Not rushing. Not panicking. Working together. At one point, Ino stumbled slightly, but Naruko reached out and steadied her. "Easy," she said softly. "Let's think it through." Ino nodded, surprised, but grateful. They tried again, this time timing their movements better. Iruka smiled as he watched them. Not because they were perfect, but because they were learning. The bell rang soon after, ending the lesson. Naruko stood, breathing a little heavily, but grinning from ear to ear. "That was fun," she said. Iruka nodded. "You both did very well. Keep practicing like that, and you'll go far." Naruko beamed. "Thanks, sensei." And just like that, she dashed off. "I'm going to get ramen." Later that day, Naruko stood in a quiet clearing, surrounded by wooden poles. She held a practice blade, one that felt much heavier than usual. "Focus," she whispered. She took a breath. Then, she moved. A smooth swing. A pause. She opened one eye. Nothing had changed. Naruko sighed, lowering the blade. "Still not enough," she murmured. But instead of giving up, she reset her stance. Again. And again. And again. Because Naruko didn't quit. Over time, her training continued. Running became easier. Movements became smoother. Even everyday tasks started to feel like practice. Under Goku's guidance, she learned more than just strength, she learned balance, patience, and control. Sometimes, the training was unusual, like helping in fields or carrying heavy loads, but Naruko didn't complain. Well, not much. Because deep down, she understood. Every small effort mattered. One day, as they traveled, Goku stopped and looked at her. "Your real training begins now." Naruko blinked. Then her face lit up brighter than the sun. Really? Goku laughed. Really? Dash. Their journey took them across fields, through rain, and over mountains. Naruko saw new places, met kind people, and helped wherever she could. Each day, she grew a little stronger. Each day, she learned something new. Not just about fighting, but about the world. And about herself. Dash. At last, they reached a great stone temple nestled in the mountains. Naruko gazed in wonder as she watched the monks practicing, moving with calm strength and steady focus. Wow, she whispered. Goku smiled. This is where you'll learn next. Naruko clenched her fists, not in anger, but in determination. I'm ready. Dash. And so, Naruko's journey truly began. Not as someone trying to prove she was the best, but as someone learning, growing, and discovering her own path. Step by step. With courage in her heart. And a bright, unshakable smile. Dash. The adventure was only just beginning. Smoke drifted gently across the rocky field as Naruko stepped out of the haze. She flipped lightly through the air and landed on a smooth stone, her eyes scanning the quiet landscape. Focus. She reminded herself. Just then, Goku appeared behind her, smiling calmly as if this were all part of a lesson rather than a challenge. Another rumble echoed across the rocks, not as a frightening blast, but like distant thunder rolling through the mountains. Naruko and Goku moved swiftly along the ridge, their steps careful and steady. Naruko leaned against a stone wall to catch her breath. She was tired, her clothes dusty from practice, but her spirit remained bright. She had never imagined she would be here. Just a week ago, everything had been so different. Here is where you will be staying, the elder of the temple had said, guiding Naruko and Goku into a simple room. The space held soft mats and a single window that let in golden sunlight. The elder, a gentle man with a long white beard and kind eyes, wore a flowing white cloak. It's so simple, Naruko had said quietly, looking around. You will grow to appreciate simplicity, the elder replied with a warm smile. Here, we learn together, live together, and grow together. Naruko nodded. Okay. Over the next few days, Naruko learned about energy, chakra and chi, and how everything in the world was connected. Goku explained it patiently, drawing little diagrams and using simple examples. Think of it like nature, he said. Wind, water, earth, fire, and lightning, they all have their strengths and balance each other. Naruko listened carefully, asking many questions. She was curious about everything. The next morning, a deep gong echoed through the temple. Naruko jumped up. What was that? Morning meditation, came a voice from outside. Please join when you are ready. Naruko quickly changed into her new clothes, light and comfortable, made for movement and fresh air. When she stepped outside, a cool breeze brushed against her face. It's chilly, she murmured, shivering slightly. Goku chuckled. The mountains like to wake you up properly. They walked into the courtyard where monks sat peacefully, eyes closed, completely still. Naruko sat beside Goku and tried to do the same. At first, her mind wandered. Why were they sitting quietly? What was she supposed to feel? But slowly, something changed. She began to notice the sounds around her, the gentle chirping of birds, the rustle of leaves, the soft trickle of water nearby. Her breathing slowed. Her thoughts became lighter, like clouds drifting across the sky. For the first time, Naruko felt truly calm. Suddenly, BRRRP. Naruko's eyes flew open. Her face turned bright red. She hadn't meant to make that sound. Slowly, she peeked around. The other monks looked at her, not with anger, but with quiet surprise. Then, one by one, a few smiled kindly. One even gave her a small thumbs up. Naruko blinked. She didn't know whether to laugh or hide. I'm sorry, she whispered. The elder stepped forward gently. There is no need to be sorry, he said. Moments like these remind us that we are all human. Even in stillness, we are allowed to be ourselves. Naruko looked up at him. Really? He nodded. Growth does not mean becoming perfect. It means understanding yourself better. Goku placed a hand on her shoulder. And you're doing just fine, he said. Naruko smiled softly. As the bell rang and everyone stood, she felt a little lighter than before. Maybe she didn't understand everything yet, but she was learning. And that, she realized, was the most important step of all. Don't think about doing it as a constant thing. A temple is supposed to be about centering one's body. Trying to be funny will do no good for the temple. No matter how boring it is. Naruko frowned, though her voice softened by the end. To live out here with no means of fun? Is that what temples are like? She wondered aloud. She sat quietly through breakfast, her usual chatter replaced by thoughtful silence. When the gong rang, its deep echo rolling through the halls, the monks calmly finished their meals and began cleaning. Naruko quickly finished hers and followed along, though she kept glancing at Goku. The man she knew from before would have eaten quickly and loudly, but here he moved with calm patience, taking small bites and breathing evenly. It felt as though the temple had gently reshaped him. Soon, the monk stepped outside. Naruko watched with wide eyes as they paired up and began to spar, not harshly, but with careful, flowing movements, like a dance guided by rhythm and balance. "Whoa," she whispered. She suddenly felt a presence behind her and straightened. "The morning begins with light sparring," an elder monk explained gently. "It may seem unusual after a meal, but it teaches balance. One must remain steady, no matter the moment." "Huh?" Naruko blinked, then nodded slowly. "People must be ready at any time," the elder continued. "It is about focusing on the inner self. Just look at your grandfather." Naruko turned in time to see Goku move gracefully, guiding his partner's motion rather than forcing it. With a simple shift of balance, he gently brought the other monk to the ground. Then he bowed respectfully, helping him up with a smile. "For someone his age, he is well trained," the elder said. "Is there a style to this?" Naruko asked. "Or is it anything goes?" "There is a style," the elder replied. "Would you like to learn it?" Naruko's eyes lit up. "Yes. The art is called Chicken, the Earth's Fist. It is not easy." Naruko grinned. "I'll learn it before I leave." The elder chuckled softly. "We shall see. Follow me." Dash. They walked along a quiet stone path until they reached a peaceful lake. Tall rock pillars rose around them, their reflections shimmering in the water. "Why are we here?" Naruko asked. "To understand Chicken," the elder said, gesturing to the stones. "One must train within the element itself." Naruko studied the rocks, curious. "With great power, one could break these stones," he continued. "But true mastery is not about force, it is about harmony." Naruko tilted her head. "So, what do I do?" "I would like you to spar with me," the elder said kindly. "Show me what you can do." Naruko smiled, excitement bubbling up. She remembered how light she had felt the night before, as if her body were finally in sync with itself. "I'll try not to hurt you, Oji-san," she said playfully. The elder laughed. "It may be the other way around." Dash. Naruko dashed forward, her movements quick and eager. The elder gently redirected her strikes, stepping aside with calm precision. Her speed was impressive, but her energy flowed wildly, like a rushing stream without a path. She stumbled once, then regained her balance, adjusting her stance. "Good," the elder said. "Again." Naruko tried a different approach, moving more carefully this time. She leapt, spun, and stepped lightly, learning with each motion. A small splash of water rose as she lost her footing near the lake's edge. She landed softly, blinking in surprise before laughing at herself. Around them, a few monks paused to watch, smiling quietly. Naruko stood again, brushing off her sleeves. "You're fast," the elder said. "But Chicken is not about speed alone." Naruko took a deep breath, remembering his words. She slowed down, focusing not on winning, but on feeling her movements, her steps, her balance, her breathing. This time, her motions became smoother. Not perfect, but better. Dash. After some time, the elder nodded. "You are unique, Naruko," he said. "But Chicken may not be your natural style." Naruko blinked. "What do you mean?" "Chicken is rooted in strength and stability," he explained. "You are more like the wind, quick, expressive, always moving." Naruko looked down, thinking. "But, can I still learn it?" she asked. "Wouldn't learning different styles help me grow?" The elder smiled warmly. A thoughtful question. He nodded. "Very well. You may learn. But it will take patience." Naruko's face brightened. "I'll do my best." The elder turned to the watching monks. "Back to your training." They quickly returned to their practice. Then he looked back at Naruko. "You will train with me for the next week." Naruko nodded eagerly. Dash. And so it began. Each day, Naruko trained by the lake, learning not just how to move, but how to listen. To the ground beneath her feet, to the rhythm of her breath, and to the quiet strength within herself. It was not always easy. Sometimes it felt slow. Sometimes she grew restless. But little by little, Naruko began to understand. The temple was not a place without fun. It was a place where even stillness had its own kind of joy. Naruko and Goku worked together on the daily tasks with the other monks. From cleaning rooms to cooking meals, Naruko found each job surprisingly enjoyable. She was especially amazed at how many delicious dishes could be made using simple rice. Every day, she discovered something new: soft rice cakes, warm rice porridge, and even lightly seasoned rice rolls that filled the air with a comforting aroma. She also helped wash clothes and sweep the outdoor paths, watching as the temple grounds slowly shone under her care. At first, these tasks felt ordinary, but soon Naruko realized they were part of her training too. Each movement helped her grow more patient and focused. Her meditation improved as well. With guidance from the wise elder, Tenchi, she learned to sit still, breathe deeply, and listen to the quiet rhythm of her own thoughts. On Wednesdays, she joined the others for gentle jogs through the hills, and on Fridays, she practiced swimming in the clear, cool water nearby. Tenchi watched her with growing amazement. Naruko learned quickly, not by long explanations, but by observing carefully and trying things herself. She absorbed each lesson like a sponge, improving with every attempt. One morning, as the sun rose and painted the sky in soft gold, the monks gathered in 2 neat rows. Naruko stood between them, her heart beating fast with anticipation. Goku walked beside Tenchi, smiling as always. "Naruko," Tenchi said kindly, "you are one of the most unique students to ever train here. You have learned much in a very short time. Now, it is time for your final test." Naruko straightened, listening closely. "You will face one of our own in a sparring match. Your goal is not just to win, but to show your spirit in what you have learned. Walk to the end, then turn and face your opponent." Naruko nodded and took a deep breath. Each step felt heavy, but she kept going until she reached the end. Slowly, she turned around and blinked in surprise. Goku stood across from her, smiling warmly. "Ready?" he asked. Naruko hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "I'm ready." A gentle gong echoed through the air, signaling the start. Goku shifted into position, calm and steady. Naruko focused, remembering her training. She steadied her breathing and took her stance, determined to do her best. In an instant, Goku moved. Naruko barely had time to react as she stepped back quickly, her instincts guiding her. She landed lightly on the ground, regaining her balance. Instead of feeling discouraged, she focused even more. "Stay calm," she whispered to herself. Goku appeared nearby again, testing her awareness. Naruko turned just in time, stepping aside and keeping her balance. Each movement became smoother as she trusted what she had learned. She tried a quick move of her own, lifting a small stone with a precise motion and sending it gently toward Goku. He caught it easily and smiled. "You're learning," he said. Naruko smiled back, breathing steadily. "I won't give up." They continued, moving across the open space like dancers in a careful rhythm. Naruko stumbled once or twice, but each time she stood back up, stronger and more focused. "Believe in yourself," Goku said, watching her closely. Naruko closed her eyes for a moment, remembering her dream. "I will," she said softly. With renewed determination, she moved forward again, faster, steadier, and more confident. This time, her movements flowed naturally, as if her body understood what to do without thinking. Goku nodded with approval. After a while, Naruko slowed, breathing deeply. She was tired, but she was smiling. "That was wonderful," Goku said gently. Naruko laughed softly. "I'm still learning." "And that's what matters," he replied. Tenchi stepped forward, his eyes kind. "Naruko, you have shown great heart and determination. You are ready to walk the path of a true monk." Naruko bowed respectfully. "Thank you. I'll keep trying my best." The days passed as Naruko rested and recovered. Soon, she and Goku stood once more before the monks, ready to continue their journey. "Thank you for visiting," Tenchi said. "I hope we meet again." Naruko grinned brightly. "We will. And next time, I'll be even stronger." Tenchi chuckled softly. "I look forward to it." He handed her a small package. "Keep this with you. It will guide you when you visit other temples." Naruko accepted it carefully. "Thank you." With one last wave, she and Goku began walking down the path, the temple slowly fading behind them. "Where to next?" Naruko asked. Goku smiled. The water temple. Naruko's eyes lit up with excitement. Let's go. And together, they continued their journey, one step at a time, growing stronger with every new experience. Naruko shaded her eyes as she looked up at the tall stone structure ahead. The Earth Temple stood quietly among rolling hills, its walls glowing softly in the warm light of the afternoon sun. It felt ancient, as if it had been waiting a very long time for someone to arrive. And there we have it, she said with a small smile, her voice full of wonder. The Earth Temple. A gentle breeze rustled the grass around her feet. Behind her, Goku crossed his arms and tilted his head thoughtfully. Not back, I say, he added, though his tone carried a playful mystery. Naruko turned toward him, raising an eyebrow. What are you talking about, Goku? She asked, half curious and half amused. You always say things like that as if you're hiding something. Goku chuckled, tapping the side of his nose. Hey, like I'll tell you yet. Naruko placed her hands on her hips, pretending to be annoyed, but she couldn't hide her smile. She had come a long way on her journey, learning new skills and meeting all kinds of people. Still, this place felt different. It wasn't about ninja techniques or fast moves. It felt calm. Steady. Like the ground beneath her feet. She took a few careful steps toward the temple entrance. The doors were carved with swirling patterns that looked like mountains, rivers, and trees all woven together. When she touched the surface, it felt warm, almost like it was alive. I'm sure some people would say this feels a bit like something from another world, Naruko said thoughtfully. But I think it's something special. Something outside of what I already know. Goku nodded. That's because it is. This place belongs to an old tradition. A monk's secret way of understanding the earth. Naruko's eyes sparkled. A secret trade? She asked softly. Exactly, Goku replied. Even you haven't learned everything yet. Naruko laughed, a bright and cheerful sound. Of course I haven't. That's what makes adventures fun. There's always more to discover. She stepped forward again, this time with confidence. The large door slowly opened, not with a loud sound, but with a quiet, welcoming hum. Inside, the temple was peaceful. Smooth stone floors stretched out in every direction, and small glowing crystals lit the room like gentle stars. In the center stood a simple platform, surrounded by sand arranged in beautiful patterns. Naruko walked closer, her footsteps soft. She could feel something new here, not power in the way she was used to, but balance. Patience. Strength that didn't rush. This place, she whispered, it feels like it's teaching me without even speaking. Goku smiled. That's the idea. Naruko turned back toward the entrance, taking one last look at the world outside before stepping fully into the temple. Well, she said with a determined grin, I think I'm going to learn as much as I can here. She looked back over her shoulder, her expression warm and inviting. Tell me what you think, Naruko added, as if speaking to a friend just beyond the hills. And I'll see you later. With that, she walked deeper into the Earth Temple, ready for whatever gentle lessons awaited her next. Dear YouTube family. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the journey ahead. Thank you for being here. Regards. 6 Path Weeb.